Sorry, I'm getting a little delusional.
He's delusional. He's delulu. What's up, guys? This is John. I coach the highest jumper in the world. This is Isaiah, the highest jumper in the world. And before we get started, I want to share this awesome testimonial. I'm going to keep it anonymous because I didn't ask, but this is some of the best feedback I've heard. Well, we get feedback like this often, but I'll share it anyways. It said, "Hey boys, I'm about a month and a half into THP and I'm beyond impressed with you guys. I've done insert 2 of the most popular programs in the past, and y'all are next level. I'm 34 years old and have been kind of stuck at a 34-inch vert since I was 20, and I was thinking that was as good as I could get. In 1 month, I've already increased my vert by 1 inch and got my first 2-hand dunk, which has always been a goal of mine. I signed up on the month-to-month program, but would love to sign up for the 6 months if you guys are cool with that. Let me know if that works for you. Keep up the good work." Anyways, shout out
what's
this
crazy?
person.
You know what's crazy? Today I posted Michael Davidson, 33 years old, got his first dunk. The other day we posted Logan Hoff, 31 years old, gained how many 10 inches of vertical?
Oh, dude, his is insane. Logan's is probably the most like ridiculous improvement I've heard.
These
We
are
went back through and we looked at his program because they're like, what did he do?
yeah.
Which was
So
awesome.
we're 30 years old is the new 20s, man.
Yeah, it
In this
is.
day
I
and
mean, look at
age.
LeBron, dude. LeBron's in his 40s and he's like still busting ass in the
Yeah.
NBA. You know, if you're 18, you're just a rookie now. You're
Yeah.
not even close to your potential. No, I mean, I think as you and I age up and we demonstrate that you can still improve, and as the community gets a little bit older, I think that we've more and more started to, demonstrate proof of concept, right? If you keep training, you're going to keep improving. Just because you graduated high school or college doesn't mean you have to stop. If anything, that's when you should start training, right? When you don't have kids, you have a job and you have a lot of free time. This is like the best time for you to do it,
Yeah.
right? Or even like if you are in that kind of in between where maybe you're married, you don't have kids, or maybe you do, but they're like sorted with school and everything and situated, like that's the best time to start training, in my opinion.
Yeah.
So
If you have a job and like an hour of free time and you like
this is,
jumping,
yeah. Or you just like training. Like it's like I go to the gym, but I'm like, what am I doing here? Like you train for a purpose. I think that is one of the best things you can do, is just train for a purpose. You like basketball, but like, what do you got bored of doing runs for 10 years, like basketball runs every day for 10 years?
Yeah.
You're like, you know what? I think I'll train to dunk. This will be fun. We're your guys, I guess. But yeah, it's fun to see that. And it's always fun to hear those stories. So shout out to you guys that do the training every day. You are my hero. You love this as much as I do. And I'm glad you trust us with your training. If you're interested in that, go to THPstrength.com and sign up for coaching. Anyways, we're going to talk about something that every guy wants to get bigger, and that's his upper body.
I thought you were gonna
thought I
say
was going to say something else. You did.
I was about to start flexing something else.
Yeah, you were. Anyways, so if I think we oftentimes talk about just performance training as it pertains to jumping higher. And again, the question ultimately that this podcast is, and how does this help me jump higher? So, and does upper body help you jump higher? Isaiah, what do you think?
Yes, let's end the podcast right now.
See you guys. Do upper body. Bye. I actually have not a different opinion, but it's a nuanced question with a nuanced answer. Most of them are. It's not a yes or no. I don't think it's definitive either way. I don't think definitively you can say either way.
I'll say my thoughts.
Go ahead. Yeah, no, this is what I
think if you're a 2-foot jumper, getting stronger shoulders, traps, upper back, all your back muscles, literally your entire back and your shoulders, can help you jump higher if you're also training lower body. I think if you gain a ton of upper body mass and you're not jumping and you're not training correctly, it could hurt you.
And why is that?
I think it could hurt your mobility as far as like your arm swing.
Oh, dude, Austin is the poster boy for this.
Yeah. I think
he called me today and he was like, "I want to get better at snatch," and I was like, "Your shoulders are going to be a problem there because all your damn bench pressing."
Yeah, I think it can. I think it can mess with your mobility a lot, and then you could potentially gain non-specific muscle mass, like your chest. Like if your chest and arms get huge, I think it could hurt you.
Called mass specific force, or force specific mass. That's a better way to do it, right?
Yeah.
Vector training. Are you improving the muscles that improve the vector you want to go? And do your arms necessarily directly increase
I could get into the
Is it vector
theoretical.
specific? Is
I
the
could
vector specific mass increasing when I increase my arms?
I could
Isaiah?
get into a theory that I have.
What's your theory?
You
What's your
see
theory?
you see these long arms?
Okay.
When I
Yeah.
jump, I feel like I'm using them as like freaking like a pendulum. Like, like a pendulum?
Yeah. Do you ever see
Like when you swing like a freaking what are the thing that David used to kill Goliath? With
like a
a
slingshot?
slingshot, a slingshot.
Yeah.
I feel like I'm like a sling, and then I'm just like, that's what my arms feel like.
It's almost
So
it's like a flail. It's like a
yeah, so
flail.
I have a theory that if you have strong ass shoulders, long, heavy arms, you
And
can
you swing
flail
them.
them. Yeah, you can. They help when you flail them as you
Bro,
jump.
I don't know why you're not jumping with dumbbells in your hand. But there
Hey,
is a legitimate there is a legitimate reason
and
why.
and these hands are
You
heavy.
see these hands? But I think in terms of the why, I have another theory that is maybe a little bit more based in science, but maybe explains what you're saying. So we know that your center of mass is the sum of all of your respective mass of an object. And when you lift a limb upwards, the center of mass is going to move up, right? Because it's the center of all your masses. So if you lift your hand up, center of mass moves up a little bit.
Any limb?
Yes, even that one. Even if that goes up 1 inch, even if it's 1 inch higher and it weighs an ounce or 5 ounces or 6
Yeah.
ounces, I don't know. Yeah, your center of mass goes up. It moves upward. We can test
Wow.
that later.
Wow.
So if you have these big old fucking arms, and let's say like my arm, if I were to chop it off, I took a saw and I chopped my arm off and I threw it on a scale and it weighed 15 pounds, give or take, I hope. And then, Isaiah, we chopped his arm off and it weighed 23 pounds. We threw that on the scale or whatever. So if he lifts 23 pounds of weight over across 2 arms, let's say as high as I do at takeoff, and I lift, what did I say? 15 pounds.
Yeah.
He's got 7 times 2, 14 pounds more mass, a foot higher, right? Because he lifted his 22-pound arms over his head. So 44 pounds of mass versus 30 pounds of mass. That's 14 pounds more mass upwards, and he leaves the ground. And then he drops his arms. Now he took off with more mass higher than I did, and we weigh the same. He took off with more of his mass higher when he left the ground. So that's one reason. Second reason why is when you swing your arms, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. And I know we're going to get some weird physics nerd here to be like, you fucking idiot. You don't know anything about physics or biology or whatever. And then I'm like, but dude, there was a kid, Michael Davidson. If you're on the other, is that his name? It was like Michael Griffith or something, or David Griffiths or something like that. Anyways, he was like, you don't know anything about biochemistry. Every time you talk, I want to claw my eyeballs out and my ears start bleeding, you moron. And I was like, oh, yeah, well, I mean, he's like, I'm a researcher. And I'm like, yeah, dude, I don't have a PhD in biochemistry. Sorry. I'm like, I do my best to explain it. But if you want to go ahead and in the description say in a nice way, yeah, this is the actual way, that would be helpful for all of us. We'd all benefit. But if you're that physics guy, go ahead, do my best. Unless you're someone that is their first name starts with an S and their last name ends with an M, in which case I don't want you to comment about physics because you annoy the shit out of me sometimes.
Just be nice about it.
Yeah, just be nice.
We're open to criticism, but be nice about it.
Yeah, if you annoy the shit out of me, I might just be like, I might just like say your mom, like I might make it your mom joke or something. Anyways, or I'll like attack something else completely irrelevant, which is a fallacy, which is bad practice. Anyways, so feel free to leave feedback on this. But if you, if you have more mass higher, then your center of mass is in a higher position at takeoff, which is going to benefit you, right? If he leaves with 100, let's say 3,000 or 6,000 watts of propulsion through his legs, and I have 6,000 watts of propulsion through my legs, but he took off at a higher position than I did, he's going to go higher than I will. Makes sense to me.
Sure.
So that's one benefit. Another thing is, like I was saying, every action has an equal and opposite reaction. So if you swing your arms downward on a scale, right, what do you see happen? You push your arms swing downward. There's an equal and opposite reaction from that, where your body is, I guess, rotating the other direction into the ground, and your force goes up. That's the best way I can explain it. I've asked a couple of physicists this, and they've done a really shitty job explaining any other explanation of it. But I know for sure if I swing my arms on a scale, the number goes up. And if you have heavier arms and you swing them harder on that scale, you're going to get higher ground reaction force. If you did it on a force plate, you'd see the same thing. So I think that when you have that reaction force, if you swing your arms harder and you swing them downward harder, when you reach bottom dead center of that, that's whenever you're going to get the highest ground reaction forces. Then there's probably a benefit to that. So if Isaiah's hands weigh fucking 50 pounds each, and he was strong enough to swing them, like,
It's like a momentum thing. Like the
yeah,
higher the
yeah,
momentum of your arms, the more it could potentially help.
pushes your body down to the into the ground. And I've seen this with Chris Colditz, dude. When he would jump, it looked like literally what I just explained. Like 50-pound dumbbells were just like he was swinging them because his arms were so massive because he used to be a bodybuilder and a really good one. And the floor would compress. It was insane.
Yeah.
Like Chris was such a big fucking dude.
You
And
know where else you see that is with
crazy.
Donovan Hawkins.
Yeah, Donovan's another good
Hawkins,
example. Yep.
big old upper body.
And some guys, like Chris has always said, and Donovan said too, they're like, when I get my upper bigger, I jump higher. And I really think it's that mechanism is like, can you still generate the same? Do the net forces add up such that the pros outweigh the cons? And
Yeah.
I think another thing too with 1 foot, I've always been like, I don't really know. So I've tested this. I've now backed off almost all the upper body volume in my training. And since I've started adding it back in, I've been jumping higher. Part of
Yeah.
that is what I just explained. I think another simple part of it is I'm never going to weigh 200 pounds of muscle. It's just not going to happen. Right. So if I get bigger, like arms or whatever, I think my resting metabolism goes up very slightly, maybe enough, or maybe it's like when I do overeat, I build muscle mass instead of like storing it as maybe fat mass because I have higher stress, internal stress, right? Like my body's
Yeah.
signaling for muscle protein synthesis to happen by doing more upper body. I think that's a potential mechanism. I don't know for sure. I'm not going to speak like 100% confident on that, but I have noticed that when I do more upper body, I feel better, I look better, I'm more confident, and I end up weighing less in total. So even if I'm trying to gain mass or I'm doing like high volume or I'm doing high intensity, I'll still lose weight. I'll trend the other direction every single time. I'll
Yeah.
weigh from anywhere from 182 or 183 to about 175, give or take. It really depends in that range. But more volume ends up meaning that I'm going to lose weight and I'm going to be lighter, and that means I'm going to jump higher. Now, some
Yeah.
people don't like that, and I know high jumpers would never do that. I've seen, in high jumps case, I think there's enough sprinting and other stuff where you don't really need to per se, and like you got to be a little bit more dialed with your diet. But I honestly, I hate doing that. So I would rather train harder than change my diet. Does that make
Yeah.
sense?
I'm
Like
the
that would
same
be
way.
I would way rather do that. And I know high jumpers are very mass averse. Like you don't want any. And it seems to fuck with rotation. It kind of messes with the takeoff. It affects your running mechanics a little bit. Dunking, you've got 3 or 4 steps. Like every time I've seen guys add more volume in the upper body, it's for the most part helped. And now again, like I said, I've taken it out. I didn't do any almost last year. I almost did no upper body volume. Did you know that, Isaiah?
Yeah, I
Like
figured.
almost none, and it negatively impacted me. So, yeah, I've started putting it back in, and I feel better. I feel leaner. I think you need to do it.
Yeah.
And in terms of
And you're not gonna
periodizing,
get huge unless you're eating a ton.
either that or you're probably already huge now, and
Yeah.
you already have a
Like
predisposition to get bigger.
like
Like,
I wasn't doing any upper body training up until 2022. Actually, end of 2021 is when I started hitting it harder, and I gained like 5 pounds fast, and then I've basically just maintained my
yeah,
weight up
exactly.
until then.
Yep.
Up until
Austin
now.
started doing it more and he's seeing really good changes in body composition and jumping higher. Like I don't know. It's a high force activity, lifting upper body, and it seems to just be more specific than non-specific for training. So I definitely think keep it in there. In terms of periodizing it, honestly, you don't have to get that fancy with it. You could keep it very general, very um like you could technically periodize it in
I
Isaiah's
think you
case.
can make an argument for it, but
It's
it
not
adds a
necessary.
lot of, like,
Unnecessary
unnecessary
complexity.
complexity, yeah.
Yeah, that's like exactly how I feel about it. I mean, I think it's fun to have variety. I think it's good to progress across intensities and volumes and things like that. And if you're in a very specific case, in your case, for example, where like, you are trying to hit a never before dunk and you need really fast hands, maybe in that case that you can make an
Yeah.
argument for it. But again, it's kind of like slivers of a difference versus just like doing relatively general, like I call it gen prep work all year round. You know, you could
Yeah.
just be creative, build some variety in there. You
That's
do a lot of,
basically what I do. I
yeah,
literally it's
it's just gen
basically
prep year round.
I'm basically doing high volume to max strength level training. Like I never do less than I think like 6 reps, 5 reps, and I'll
And when
go
you
as
do, your
high
shoulder just gets pissed off.
and I go as high as 15 reps for things, and I just keep that year round. I periodize it slightly, and then during deloads, I basically just pull my upper body out for a little
Which
bit.
makes perfect sense.
Yeah,
I Yeah, I do something similar. I just drop the volumes. I don't pull it out fully, but
yeah.
I am different. He does, a friend of ours who works with shoulders, Christian Williams. Shout out Christian. Happy birthday to you, Christian, by the way. Your birthday was at the
Huh.
end of the month. So he writes a lot of Isaiah's upper body work, which, you know, I've signed off on. Christian is brilliant. He's one of my best friends. And I've done Christian's upper body, but I like to do, when my shoulder's been messed up, it's helped a lot. When my shoulders are good, I like to do typically 2 to 3 days of pushing and pulling. So I'll split it up. I usually add that in on the high intensity day. So I'll pick a push or a pull. I need to work on pushing more because my pulling is generally quite good. I get a lot of like lat work when I'm doing my clean pulls and stuff like that. So I don't need to address that more, but I definitely need to address more pushing. I'm really bad at pushing, relatively speaking. So I'll have that 2 days in and then 1 day of pulling, whether it's a row or a pull up, some multi joint movement. And then on the general days, I typically build it in the form of a circuit. I think it's good for fitness. I think it's good for body composition. It kind of addresses a lot of the small musculature that other people, programs, coaches would ignore. And I've always seen it be really beneficial for me personally. You guys do some accessory work, but it's mostly at the end of I guess it's like what, at the end of the workout, you'll kind of build some accessory workout on there or into a circuit or something like that. Christian will usually have you guys do it like
Yeah,
curls or
we actually just started. What I was doing was a heavy on Tuesday. I would do always a pull, and then one of the days a push, and then the second day is like a shoulder push, if that makes sense. It's like a chest
like
push
overhead.
on
Like you
Tuesday,
do like
and then
horizontal push, overhead
yeah,
pull,
yeah,
horizontal pull.
and then one of the days he had a core circuit that I always skipped, so we started replacing that with arms. Literally this week, we replaced or last
He was like, he's like, have you been doing this? You're like, no. I
oh,
objectively haven't been doing this.
yeah, so we replaced that with arms, and then the other day carries, which I do. I
It's
don't skip.
crazy how much just like fitness helps so much. Like
Yeah, just getting in shape.
Austin doing any more work is better than less for him. And me, the same
Yeah.
thing. Volume is just such a,
I I've
it's not even like intentional, like we're adding volume. It's just we're adding
yeah.
training and that workload. We're adding workload
I
and
said
workload
this
helps
to
you get fitter.
I said this to Austin a few weeks ago, and it was basically just getting in shape in general is better for your 1 and 2 foot bounce. Like a lot of guys try to do what's specific for 1 foot or 2
Like I
foot
only do the best.
before
I only do the best exercise.
before crossing the box of fitness. Like get in good ass shape. Like get
Yeah.
your
Are you
body
a
fat
fat blob?
percentage low, and are you fucking strong? Are you strong as hell? If you do those 2 things, you'll be, and then after that, then start getting into the
And I
weeds.
think in high school it's like a little bit easier because you're lean no matter what. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like most jumping athletes are going to be light. They're going to be relatively fit from playing team sports, so it's a little bit easier. But if you're doing dunk training specifically, you definitely need to be more cognizant of having that box checked. And I think a lot of the time the training does a pretty good job of it. But if you're like, dang, I'm like really kind of out of shape right now, then
yeah.
you definitely need to make that a point to
Bro,
us specifically.
clean up your diet, stop going out, start working out every day. Like that those are 3 boxes that
Like the
need to be
hard 75. Same shit. You
Yeah,
exercise every day, you don't drink alcohol for 75 days. And there's
yeah,
like one more. I can't remember. It's like you drink like I don't know, a gallon of water or something. That's like the
yeah,
hard 75. And I think one of the workouts you have to get outside for 30 minutes, exercise for an hour, I think it is.
yeah,
Don't drink alcohol. And I think you try to eat whole foods maybe or something, or like
yeah.
no like refined foods. Those are like very
If
basic
you
fundamental.
combine that with, like, jump once a week,
Yeah,
like,
you're probably
if
gonna
you're
get
out of shape, like, if you combine that with jump
yeah.
once a week as an out of shape person, and out of shape, I mean, like, you're not in ridiculously good shape. Like I'm talking like you're at 12% body fat, like
You know that?
13%
Oh, I was
body
right.
fat.
It
Like,
is. It is. I actually have exactly what it is. The daily rules. Are you ready?
yeah,
So, viral lifestyle program that requires participants to complete 6 daily tasks for 75 days in a row. Drink a gallon of water. Work out twice a day. Work out twice. One workout must be outside. Stick to a structured diet. You can choose your diet, but you can't cheat. This means no alcohol or meals outside of your chosen diet. Read 10 pages of a book. Take a progress picture. And track it. So simple, but honestly, all of those are so effective. Like that's so simple and so effective. That's why it works. That's why so many people see it work. And the first time I heard of this was Jordan Canary. Actually, I don't know if you remember Jordan.
yeah,
He was a volleyball player. We got him up to touching maybe 11.4, I think 11.5. And shout out Jordan if you still watch this. But he worked with us for years, a long time. And then at one point he was like, "Hey, I'm living in Chicago. I'm kind of crazy all over the place with work, but I've been doing this thing called the Hard 75." And this was like in 2021 or 2022. I was like, "I've never heard of this." And then he like showed me before and after pictures, and he lost a ton of weight. And it was just simply like that, right? And if you can just integrate some of those ideas with what we already do, you're going to be so successful, right? Like all that stuff is basically stuff that I would sign off on and endorse, right?
yeah.
Do
Be
THP
a
every
healthy
day.
human.
Yeah, do THP every day, then go for a 30-minute walk in the morning or at night, right? Eat a high protein meal, or high protein diet with, a good macronutrients, eat your vegetables. Then I would say don't drink alcohol. Like no brainer. This is super easy. Read a book, 10 pages. Yeah, that's good advice. That's generally Isaiah loves reading, right?
Yeah.
I would I
You're
would
literally
I would
describing
say
what going to 29 Palms was for me.
yeah, but it was like unintentional. And
Yeah,
then take a progress picture. I wouldn't say like you have to drink a gallon of water. I don't see anything wrong with that. It might be a little bit annoying, but sure, like drink a gallon of water. I don't think that one really needs to be there. Progress picture, sure, yeah, get comfortable in your own skin with where you're at. I think that's probably more so to sell the product. I don't think you need that one either, but it probably does build motivation.
yeah.
So yeah, I think those are all good pieces of advice.
And track.
But yeah, that's tracking. Yeah. The picture is the tracking.
Okay, okay.
But it's like I don't think it has to be a page.
Yeah.
Measure your weight. I don't know. I guess a picture is fine. That's fine. Anyways, that's a good place to stop. I feel like Isaiah. Do you have anything else you want to add?
Nah. Go to sign up for THP.
Yeah. Don't be lame. Sign up.
Yeah.
Also, Bailey's sick. She's huffing and puffing over here. This is so sad. And her nose is so dry. But we'll see you guys tomorrow. Or no, we won't. We'll see you Monday. You guys will see this probably Saturday? We'll upload this Sunday.
Mhm.
All right, cool. See you guys. Bye.
Peace out.